This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by Southern Area Cruiserweight Champion John Hedges. John, first of all, thank you very much for your time today. I know we've already been rambling away for about 20 minutes off camera. We're going to pretend that's not happened. How is everything? You're good?
Yeah, all well, Josh. Keeping active, keeping in the gym, just taking over, mate. To be honest with you, just waiting for a bit of fight news. Got a couple of injuries just healing up, but yeah, nothing to speak of. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back out end of this year or early next year.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear that you'll be back in the ring soon. Just looking at the UK schedule wise for Matchroom, there's not a lot on the UK shores. I think December wise, there might not be any slots. So what's the latest you'd like? If it can't be December, what's the latest you'd like to be back in
I,
the ring?
this is the thing, right, Josh? I sit down with my team quite often and just have a chat about things. But I'm 10-0 at the minute. I'm 22 years old. I'm in the cruiserweight division. I've got a belt now. The goal this year was just to get a strap. Didn't care what title it was. If you look back at previous interviews, I literally said, "I've got to get a belt in the professional ranks." I've got that now. So not in a driving seat as such because it's not a big enough belt to say that. But I'm in a position where I'm not chasing to prove what I'm about. I've showed people what level I'm at the moment. And yeah, hopefully next year we're going to pick an English title up. Following year British, if I had it ideally, do you know what I mean? So, but obviously, look, when the opportunities arise, you never know with these Riyadh seasons and things like this. I'm just there to take the opportunity, stay fit, stay sharp, and see what comes up.
One thing I'd like to say about your career is very interesting. I'm pretty sure what weight was it you started out again in your career?
Yeah, I made championship super middle for my debut, which was mental. Now I look back at it, yeah.
So you started at super middle and now you found your way up at cruiserweight
Man, honestly, I don't
in
how I
10
made super.
fights.
Yeah, how I made super middle is absolute. Like I don't even know what I was doing to make that weight. Like literally, it killed me. But yeah, it weren't no good. I think I had that amateur mindset where it was like, be big at the weight and you win the fight sort of style. Because I did do that a lot in the amateurs, but 3 round fights a lot different to a 4 and a 6 and 8. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think I found my feet as a light heavy, and then eventually I got to cruiserweight where I'm at now, and this is comfortable for me. This is the weight I need to be. I'm 6'6". I'm a big cruiser. Do you know what I mean? I'm not small. So yeah, it's inevitable. I think I'll be a heavyweight eventually, but for now, we're going to campaign at cruiser.
Well, I mean, you kind of already ticked off the next question I was going to ask in. Surely there'll be a heavyweight move in the future. Definitely not now. You've got that cruiserweight title. You want to certify yourself there, but in the future, once you've had a bit more time at cruiserweight, surely the only option after that. So I can't see you dropping back down to light heavy personally.
Nah, no way. Like literally, when we were fighting, even when we spoke about the Southern area before, if I could have made the light heavy Southern area, I'd have boxed for it last year. But 79.2 kg was just it was too brutal for me. So yeah, cruiserweight for now, and then maybe when I'm 25, 26, maybe 27. See how long I can hold this for. I might go bridgerweight for a bit, and but then yeah, I'll be a heavyweight for sure. That's where the money's at. That's where you get the recognition.
Just looking at what next in terms of fight wise. Obviously, we know you want to be back early next year or possibly December if any slots do open up. But what type of fights do you look for? Do you want to look at defending that southern area or stepping up maybe?
Truthfully, I'd rather not defend the Southern area, if I'm honest with you. I'd rather push straight on for something else. I don't believe I need many like tuning fights. I just need good fights, 50-50 fights now. Um, and fights that I believe are good for me. Do you know what I mean? So look, I want the English title next year. I think I've made that clear to a lot of people. So hopefully I can get an English, an Intercontinental, something like that. If I can't get English, I want another belt. So whatever I could do with another 10 rounder. Still not done the 10 rounds as a pro. Obviously, last one got stopped in 6. The one before that only went 2 rounds. So I feel like I need to get a little 10 rounds under my belt if it happens. It's not a major, but yeah, next fight I'd like to have a 10 rounder. Hopefully, put a belt on the line and then get to the English title by the end of next year.
Was it a bit frustrating? I'm sure you probably answered this question in previous interviews with Seconds Out, but you get scheduled the 10 rounder and then you still win by decision, but not have to go in the full 10 rounds. Was that a little bit frustrating on the night?
Do you know what? I, I think the most frustrating thing was it was like it was all part of the plan, like not as the cut as such, but how I was boxing in the fight was I stuck to the plan to a T. Started quick, took kind of a round off just because it was my first 10 rounder, and then literally round 6, the start of round 6, I had him wobbled, and then that's when the clash of head comes. So it's a bit shit in that sense because I felt like the stoppage was coming. I was probably 3-4 minutes away from knocking him out, and I think if I would have knocked him out, he'd have had that much more hype. And do you know what I mean? It would have been just a sealed deal. But listen, that's boxing. The main thing is I didn't get a bad cut. I got a little bit of one, but yeah, the main thing was I'm not damaged and I can go fight again.
well, just moving away from yourself. We've obviously been talking about the boxing schedule off camera. And I feel like we're out of that summer period where the schedule dies. We're starting to see big fights come thick and fast. Just recently, I know you were ringside for Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. You did an interview with us with my colleague Eamon Khan at the gym where you mentioned sparring with Dubois once. And I remember the title, I think it was Pure Fear because you actually attacked him. I think we can all understand why you're a bit scared now because that performance from Anthony Joshua was not from Anthony Joshua, from Daniel Dubois was something special.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I hate to be like, oh, I told people so, but when you've been in there with him and you've trained alongside Daniel, you realise how strong that man is. Like, not just punch power, the size of the man, the way he trains. He's a fit fella. He's quicker than what most people think. People used to have this perception that Daniel Dubois was this slow, strong heavyweight. He's not slow. He's quick. He's sharp. Got a great jab. Um, and yeah, I just wasn't really that surprised. Especially, thought Joshua could maybe pull it off, but when I got into that arena and I see Daniel Dubois, like the way he walked into the ring and he was up for a fight, I thought it was going to go one way.
And then just looking at Daniel Dubois in a bit more detail, how beneficial do you think this move to Don Charles has been for his career?
I think Don, as far as heavyweight coaches go, he's a great heavyweight coach. He's worked wonders with a few fighters. And yeah, I think Daniel needs that. He's like a loud, dominant coach. He's not ever unsure. Whatever he says he says it demanding. And I think someone like Daniel, who's not got loads of personality as such, not don't talk a lot, he's not a very loud character. He needs that. He needs that bit of voice from his coach. So yeah, I think Don Charles and Daniel make a great team. And also Kieran Farrell's in that mix as well, who's a great pad man as well. So I think that's a good little setup he's got there.
And who do you want to see Daniel Dubois face next? A lot of names have been linked with him. What name stands out for you?
Right, I'd like to see. Look, I'd like, as a boxing fan, I'd like to see Dubois versus Fury. I would like to see that. But even someone like, look, he's just beat Joshua. I don't know the man to his eye off by heart, but someone like Zhang maybe chuck someone new in the mix, get him a tick over fight, which is still entertaining, which is still going to be a good fight. Do you know what I mean by that? Don't go get him number ones, number twos. Even someone like Caballero, I think he's dangerous, very dangerous. So chuck him in with Dubois. Let's see that. Any of them big names, top tens only now.
How do you feel Dubois would get on if he faced Tyson Fury?
Tyson beats him, in my opinion. Yeah, I do think Tyson beats him. I think he's the same answer I'd give for AJ. I just think he's too big and too awkward. The only person Tyson's ever going to struggle against is someone like Usyk, a boxer. Because like I think we've seen through previous fights, Tyson struggles when they're smaller. The smaller the opponent, the more he struggles. And even when he boxed Steve Cunningham back in the day, a cruiserweight, they kept saying he put Tyson down. That has always been Tyson's uh, error, his weakest point. So I think that's his main. If he's got someone tall, big, and strong who just stands there, that's Fury's bread and butter.
And then just looking at Anthony Joshua, well, not the night for him. Him, Eddie, all his team are adamant that he'll fight on, he'll come again. After seeing the way that he was beaten, where do you feel he goes now looking at his future?
Hopefully, he rests up. Usyk and Fury fight each other, and then he somehow fights Fury. Whatever happens, whether Fury wins or Fury loses, get the AJ Fury fight or get the British fans that they want. And look, that's a great fight, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's still entertaining. AJ could go lose the next 10 fights. We still are going to want to watch AJ versus Fury. So, yeah, there is definitely still life for him, and he's a great fighter.
One thing that has been questioned about that night is the tactics in the corner. A lot of people seem to be unhappy with Ben Davison's ideas of telling him to roll the dice, especially so early in the fight. What do you make of that, of being so early in the fight and getting told to just take those risks, essentially?
Yeah, it worked what I thought was going to happen. I thought AJ would be patient, and I thought if AJ was patient, that's what beats them. Why the waiting game, wait, few boring rounds, and then obviously land that crucial shot. But yeah, flying in with the uppercut, I don't understand that one. But the only thing I will say, Ben's been working with AJ, so you can't really just say what he said in that little 10 seconds there because he knows how AJ's reacted to things. He might not got the reaction he wanted out of AJ before he said his instructions and things like that. So he might have looked in AJ's eyes. He's been put down like 3, 4 times before he had said that. And he might genuinely have thought, you know what, if he don't roll the dice now, he's not going to make it for the next round. So there's both ways of looking at it. It's not the right tactics in my opinion, but if AJ ain't giving him nothing back on what he's used to, look, you're better rolling the dice than you are just to go stand there and get knocked out.
What do you feel the biggest difference was? The biggest difference that allowed Dubois to be so dominant? What do you feel that real deciding factor was?
He got the first shot off, and I believe you, as a good heavyweight, you've always got to land first. You've got to dictate the pace, which Dubois did with the jab. It was a lovely jab. He feinted off it, and I think he put AJ in the trap of AJ was waiting for that backhand every time, the sit back backhand instead of just letting the shot go. And I think once Dubois picked that rhythm up, the double jabs, the single jabs, that stopped AJ's rhythm. So he always looked like he was in slow motion, AJ, to me, only because of how good Dubois' jab was. Um, but yeah, like I say, Don Charles, great tactics in the corner. He kept saying, stand in the centre, let the jab go. Don't take the fight to him, but don't get pushed back. So he held dominance.
Uh, there was a lot of talk about a rematch post fight, and there still is a lot of talk about it now. If a rematch was to get made between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, how do you see it going?
Closer fight, but Dubois wins, in my opinion. But it'd
And
be closer.
what makes you feel it's closer, but Dubois still gets the edge?
I just think when you've had the old rumours about him getting knocked out of sparring, then you have a fight, you've been dropped 4 times or whatever it was, and then you get knocked out eventually, bad knockout. That's up there. It's mental. It's that mental factor. When you get back in that ring again, it don't matter how good you start that fight, you're still waiting for that crucial shot. And unfortunately, I just think that's the difference now. It's very hard to get over there. It's different if AJ had another 5 fights and went back to it, but to go straight back into that again, it's too fresh.
And just moving away from this and looking at the upcoming big Riyadh season card, Beterbiev versus Bivol. One fight on the card I want to get your thoughts on before we talk about that. Maybe two fights on the other card, actually. We'll start off in your division. Jai Opetaia, he takes on Jack Massey. A fight where some people are overlooking Jack Massey, but if you know your boxing, you know this is a tough fight for Jai Opetaia. How do you see this fight going between the two?
Yeah, this is the mad thing, right? Like I said, Jack Massey with a training camp gives Opatara a good fight, and I got a lot of stick for saying that on an interview, but I do genuinely believe that. I might be deluded, and I might be completely wrong. He might go get ice in a round, but I don't think Jack Massey beats Opatara. But I think he gives him a good fight. I think he's competitive. How tough Jack Massey is, I don't think he walks onto nothing early. Like he don't jump in. I think he'll just be dominant and just take centre. But it's a good fight. Opatara wins unanimous to me. I don't think he stops him.
Do you think this is that step up in opposition? So a lot of people bought into Opetaia's hype after the Jordan Thompson fight, and then following that, obviously, it was Ellis Zorro as well. And people really bought into that hype because it was two demolition jobs back to back. Um, Chris Billam-Smith came out and said that he feels the Bradis rematch humanized Opetaia. Do you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
this is that type of fight where Opetaia will have to come overcome some struggles, but he could possibly reignite that hype again?
Yeah, definitely. Look, if he knocks someone like Jack Massey out in an emphatic fashion, I think you've got to get the respect for that. Massey's proved himself to be a good fighter, going the distance with Joseph Parker and having a good win over Isaac Chamberlain and things like this. So if he can do it in good style, yeah, he's just proved that he is as good as what people are saying he is.
One of the big talking points about Opetaia is people comparing him to Usyk. Obviously, I know they're at different stages of the career. Usyk's amateur background is probably something you'll never ever see again.
Yeah.
Um, but when you look at that comparison of Opetaia and Usyk, let's say in a fantasy world, if those two were to meet, how would that go?
Usyk wins, in my opinion, but I know what you mean by. I think Opetai's a great fighter, very similar. I think he's the only one at the moment who's bringing flair into the cruiserweight division, and that's exactly what it needs. It's not just these big, strong men, which are good. I'm not saying that, but it's something different. So I think having him coming in there, fresh, tough, flary, southpaw, like he's got it all. So he's a great fighter.
And then we have a British title rematch as apparently the chief support of the card, Fabio Wardley versus Frazer Clarke II. We all remember that first fight that they had back in March on Easter Sunday. Probably what will go down as the British fight of the
Yeah,
year.
great fight.
How do you see the rematch unfolding though?
Same fight again, literally the same fight, and I think it will be as close, if not closer. I like Wardley. I like them both. I know Wardley probably a bit better than Fraser. I've trained a bit with Fraser in the amateurs, but not a lot. And Wardley's always been around camp, so I used to go down Ipswich sparring quite a bit. So yeah, I back Wardley to stop him late, but yes, puncher's chance, heavyweight division.
how much of a toll could this, if it goes the way you think it does, and they have two absolute fight of the year contenders back to back, how damaging could that be for the longevity of their career?
100%. It's gonna damage it. Like every fight will put smiles on the clock like that last one. It is gonna damage your longevity, but they're getting paid well. Look, they're on a Riyadh season card. I don't need to know what they're earning, but I know they're doing good. So maybe it does them a favour. Look, who needs to have 100 fights and take 100,000 punches, whatever it is. So maybe have less fights, have better entertaining fights, get to the world title a bit quicker, and then retire and go off into the sunset. Do you know what I mean?
Do you feel it could be a bit of a slower start in the fight, maybe? Do you feel like if there is any difference, they start a little bit slow because they know what each other have now?
I think they know what each other has, but then again, I think it's that like the catch 22 sort of style that when you start, you if your two styles just mix, which they do, I think before you know, they might start a bit tentative for a minute or 2 minutes, but it's going to get back into a tear up. At the end of the day, neither of them fighters are going to want to get hit. So as soon as one takes a good punch, it's going to be reacting straight away. No one's going to be playing the waiting game, I don't think.
And then the main event of the evening, Beterbiev versus Bivol. Some people believe this is the fight of the year. There's no fight better to make in boxing. Once these two get in the ring, what do you think happens between them?
Keep changing the answer on this one, but I'm going to stick with the original. I want to say Beterbiev. But to go points for the first time in his career. I think Bivol will be winning. I think he'll be up on the scorecards, but I do think Beterbiev breaks him down.
So do you feel Beterbiev, so he breaks him down but won't stop him?
Won't stop him. I think he breaks him down and wins on a close majority decision, something along them lines. But I think like the later rounds will be so dominant for Beterbiev, it'll be close to a stoppage, but it won't quite happen.
Do you think your mind will change first of all, leaving this interview? You reckon you'll have other thoughts again?
No, I can't change no more because I started off with Bivol and then I didn't ever say it, but then yeah, I'm with Beterbiev, I believe.
Do you feel if they were to have a rematch, I know we've not even seen the first fight between them yet, but if they were to have a rematch, do you feel it's one of those fights that anything can happen, it just depends on the
Yeah,
night?
it depends on the night, 100%. It don't matter how much preparation there is, just depends on the night.
And would you say this is your fight of the year, or is there a fight that has intrigued you more?
Yeah, I think this is going to live up to expectations. Yeah, definitely. This will live up to expectations, 100%.
Well, John, thank you very much for your time today. It's a pleasure
Cheers,
catching
Josh.
up with you, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon. Hopefully, we get some fight news towards the end of the year as well. Cheers.
100%, mate. Nice one, Josh.